Some Sony C20 goodness. Let's crack on. Hello and welcome to another MrBetaByte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we're looking at this fine Sony C20 sent in for repair by Shadia. I hope all is well with you. And yeah, basically bought off eBay as power on tested but nothing else, and it does appear to have been in the damp at some point in its life for quite some time. I've not checked yet, but just from the description I got, it sounds as if it has been in the damp. And there's also cracked gear on the front loading system, so the bar that goes across with the two gears on, one of those gears is cracked. Now Shadia's had a look at it and he has done a little bit of work on it. There's a bit of rust on the under tray as well, which I might be able to sort out, or I think I might actually have another base, but we'll see. And he does say it does give off a certain odour, which is not very pleasant, and he's been worried about running it for too long in case it bursts into flames. Shouldn't really do that with all the protection, if all the protection's there still in the power supply, but we'll check that. But just to be on the safe side, I'm going to take the top off first before I even power it on, and we'll have a look. Let's crack on. Okay, so full screws are out. Let's take the cover off. It actually looks rather tidy. So there's some heatsink compound on the fuse there, so I wonder if it maybe might have had another STR chip regulator chip. Can't actually see if it looks as if it's got the original little caps in there, so it'd be worth changing those anyway, because they always give trouble on these. Deck wise looks pretty okay actually, not too much evidence of damp, so that's good. But yeah, so far so good. Relatively pleased with that. Yeah, you can see there the gear. So there's a bar transfers motion from this side of the deck to this side of the deck to put in the basket, the carriage, and you can see there that's actually coming out. It's actually a little bit further out than it should be from the front loading system assembly here, so it's obviously floating about a bit, so we'll have a look at that. We'll just take that out. I don't think I'll even try it until I've taken this out and just had a look, especially as I've been told that that is an issue. So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so let's take the bottom off next. I just want to see what is going on. Actually, I did put some paint on, acrylic paint on the leading edge where the rust was. Yeah, so bit of a mixture of screw length there. They've got some very long ones, which I think are used for the front loading system, and the normal length ones. So there's been a bit of a mixture, and this screw here there's actually contamination in the head. I don't think it's bad, so I'm going to have to get my better screwdriver on that just to try and force that out. So try this iFixit one. Yeah, that's got it. Should have used this in the first place. So it actually doesn't look too bad. Oh, I can see there. You can see where that's covered. It's just a bit of a wear mark from where the plastic, I think it's where the plastic's been rubbing against the metal over time, and it's just caused it to rust a little bit, so that's fine. Okay, so I think the plan is I'm going to take the front loading system out first, and then I'm going to clean the Hall effect on the head motor. No doubt that's going to be still covered in glue, and I don't want that to die on me. Then we'll do the power supply, check the plug of course, make sure that's okay, and then we should be able to power it on and at least give it a test. Then, oh, the other thing as well, being a C20, we need to change these buttons, because even if they work now, they won't work for long. I know that a couple of people have said about those buttons, it's just like, don't change them, you know, only change them if they don't work, but they do fail. They oxidize quite heavily with age, and the others stop working. And on a C30, if you have the remote, it's not such a problem, or 40 or whatever. But on a C20, if you can't select the function, especially with something like play, then, well, you're stuck. You can't do anything. So yeah, it needs to be done, and it is a shame in a way to do it, because I haven't found buttons that have the same sort of feel, but you know, so they're a bit clicky. There we go. Gosh, that was a bit... Oh, okay. I see what the concern is with the rust. So it's rusted across the front metal portion, and it's actually glued glued the plastic to it. So yeah, I need to have a look at that. Just tidy that all up. There is paint all along there. Shalia did say that he'd put like acrylic paint on there, and which is fair enough. So the two sort of switch embellishments, so that's how they go. Got that one with the angled portion, so it misses the tracking control, and then the other one goes on top for the other switch, so put those there. Okay, so next thing is to find my screwdriver and slacken off to his belt. You just about have enough slack to remove that. Then 5 screws. Okay, so when you take one of these off, always remember that middle screw at the front there is still in there. And undo connector. Screw actually falls into the box section, so there's less risk of it sort of falling into the mechanism, whatever. So spools both feel good. Time will tell on the real motor, but yeah. So there's a problem with the real motor. easy fix for that. It's easy if you know what the problem is, but and I have covered it in a previous video, but I'll show you that. So let's have a look at this. So one gear there, and then yeah, it's just totally loose, so that needs to be sorted. I think what I need to do now is get this on the floor, I think, because I'm running out of space up here to do it. And we will see what's going on. I'm a bit concerned that's locking up, because it really shouldn't be. You know, once the two basket locks or carriage locks are disengaged, it should just go in, but no, this is jamming up completely, so there's obviously something not going quite as it should there. So yeah, let's crack on. So I don't know whether I've missed something here, or missed something that Shadia was trying to, well, what he put in his description, but this appears to be completely out of time. So that there should be there. And there's nothing. Oh, can you see the hole? Nothing there at all. So this just needs to completely come apart. And to be fair, that's actually not a bad thing. So yeah, let's take it apart, and we can clean all this up as well. Give it a good grease up, and yeah, we should be somewhere near with the front loading system then. So let's get this stripped down. First of all, I'm going to undo this top screw. Been a while since I've done one of these, so forgive me if I go a little bit wrong, but we'll get there. And then so yeah, this should come off. Super. So you can see the white gears at the back. They're sort of natural coloured at the front, apart from this one, of course. So I'm going to take this one out first. So what I'm going to do with this, because that gear, wherever it's gone, it has got a split on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use, what is it? Which one have I got? The 8000 glue. I'm going to carefully glue it back on with that. And the reason I'm using this is that you can actually pull it back off if you need to. It sort of isn't like super glue, which I would admit I have used before. But if you use super glue, then it sort of becomes a bit more destructive if you need to pull it apart again in the future. But this is good. It's good solid stuff. You know, it sticks well. And I use this with iPads or devices where I haven't got the correct adhesive, or the adhesive doesn't cover all the areas of where it seals onto the chassis, and that is actually a great way to sort of fill in those gaps and make sure you get a good seal. So I know it's good, but obviously it doesn't like grease, so I'm going to have to make sure that's completely clean and degreased. So that's fine. So, I mean, obviously, if I did super glue this end, you can still get it off here. So, yeah, maybe super glue is the way to go. I'm sort of changing my mind as I'm doing it. But, yeah. Oh, I'll see. I'll see how I feel. I might try the E8000, because I think that'll be enough. That'll be enough to sort of do a good job and glue it. Then get this off and basically push it back through and push it into the clips on this side, as long as the clips don't break. But yeah, you can get around that as well. So yeah, okay, fantastic. So I'll clean this up. I'll take these off as well. Clean these up. I won't bother showing that because I just use some degreaser just to help do that. Some description, probably isopropyl to be fair, and we'll take it from there. Let's crack on. Well, we are all pretty much cleaned up. A little bit of grease just on there. I didn't bother taking this gear right off. I just didn't see the point, to be honest, because it does very little. I will put a little bit of lubricant in there, but yeah, I'm happy with that. So yeah, and then all the gears. This one, just be a bit careful if you go too far with this. This actually is the tensioner. So when you push a cassette in, pushes the carriage down, and then it reaches the bottom of the travel, and this just goes a little bit further, and it just sort of makes sure that it's locked down properly onto the spools. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Then you've got the intermediate gear. That's the adjustment for the basically to sort of adjust or sort of fine tune the end of the travel, basically, so it actuates the switches correctly. So if it's not quite getting right to the end when it actuates the switch, you can adjust it there, and there's a procedure in the manual for that. Then this gear, yeah, in fact you can't take them apart because actually they're sort of plastic riveted, so you could, but there's no point because these don't move together. This is solid. So see some grease and the teeth. It's pretty pointless. Oh, actually, that's casting. It's casting error in the plastic. It's a very slight one. I'm sure it won't cause any issues, but yeah. So that's fine. And then the belt to helix screw. So I'll clean the bar up as well. Well, I say clean it up. Yeah, we'll clean it up, but the main thing is just grease that, so it makes it nice and smooth. And then I've put just a tiny bit of deoxit in the switches. Amazing what a difference that makes. It makes them just sound so much more positive. So that's cool. I did unclip this. It's always a little bit sort of nerve-wracking when you're putting that off. So that sort of pulls out, splay out these two clips, and then at the same time pull that out, and yeah, it'll come adrift. So having done that, I'm going to go the super glue route, and what I've done in a previous video actually, and I'm going to do on this one because this is really very cracked, and I do wonder if this has been glued before, because it looks like there's sort of super glue on there. I think the whole gear has actually snapped. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put basically a wire cable tie around here, and then push it in there, push it into the recess, tie it really, really tight, and that should do the job. I'd like to get some of those split metal sort of tensioners, the sort of black ones that you get on like potentiometer knobs, volume knobs and whatever, but I haven't been able to find any quite the right size that will do the job. So yeah, I'll keep searching for that, because that would be great just to press one of those on and just keep it all together nice and tight. But in the meantime, I'll just use that that method with the wire cable tie, and good bit of super glue in there. I have given it as good a clean as I possibly can. Press that back on with some super glue in it. There's a hole in the end, so you can really flood it with super glue, and then just and the glue will come out there, wipe away the excess. Jobs are good. And I'll leave it overnight to set, because I'm going to be putting grease here, and I don't want that to compromise the super glue. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So let's get some super glue and get it glued, and then we'll leave it overnight and commence battle. Okay, so here goes. A bit of tissue paper. Move that out of the way. I'm literally going to flood this full of the can. Ooh.
do that quick. Just tip it all out, and then God, that's set quick, isn't it? It's very hot at the moment as well, so it was literally just set. Oh gosh, that's hot. Actually, wow, you can actually feel the heat. God, it's burning. Actually made the tissue smoke. It's that powerful. I don't think I've ever had that before. That's pretty amazing. Okay, so that's clean, and well and truly glued on. And I wish I'd worn gloves. Only a little bit glued up. So that's in. A little bit of residue on there, which I'll clean up just to make it nice and smooth. Okay, so I'm going to get that cable tie now, glue that on, and we should be good. Okay, so can't remember if I put 1 or 2 windings. I think I put 2. So it's literally wind this round a couple of times. I'm just going to roll that a little bit as well. And then I need to get this really tight. Tight as I can do it without breaking it. It's gone quite white. And then what I can do, basically I'll trim this down and then fold over the excess, and this will just slide into the gap there. And what I tend to do then is just put a tiny bit of super glue on there, just to sort of seal the deal. But that should just help keep this together. Like I said, I'd love one of those metal sort of collars, split collars, to go on there. It would just guarantee that it's kept together, but at the moment this is the compromise. So yeah, so I'm going to leave this to sort of dry. To be fair, judging by the smoke and everything from the tissue, that was pretty awesome. It is dry, but yeah, I'm going to leave it overnight anyway. Like I say, I need to clean this up then in the morning, and put a bit of grease on, and then we can reassemble the front loading system. So push it over, and then literally just as much as possible tuck it in, and then what I'll do is I'll just put a blob of super glue in this, and that should just help keep it secure. I'll lift it up a bit as well, and just sort of a bit of glue in there, push this down, and we should be good. So it's the next day, let's get this back together. Now there is a way to do this, and I can't remember the order, so let's try and work it out together. The first thing I'm going to do is put this rod back in. It's all well and truly glued. I mean, it was last night, to be fair, but yeah, it's left it anyway. I've just smoothed off the end as well, because I contaminated it a little bit with super glue, so just to make it smooth. So that goes through the hole there. And out the other side. So there's a tiny bit of leftover grease I didn't quite get. And so far so good. So we now need to get some rods so we can actually put them through as we put the gears on, make sure that everything's lined up. So I thought I'd do it a bit different this time. I actually used the cotton wool buds because they are about the right size. Now this one is a little bit tricky because the holes don't actually line up. Oh yes they do, hang on. Yeah, because there's a hole there and there's a hole there, so it needs to be because it's not in the fully unloaded position that you set this back up. So it's not, I think I said it was the rubber bit that actually unlocks it. It isn't. There's a tab. I can show it. There's actually a tab in there that unlocks it. Same that side. So the rubbers are just to the tape, the cassette. So let's move this in. So that's locked. And put that rod back in. No doubt it's going to keep falling out, but anyway, cross the bridge when we get to it. Then I'm going to start from this side and work back and then end up putting this on last. I think that's not a bad way to do it, but I can't remember. I actually can't remember how I do these. I think pretty much every time I do them in a slightly different way. So I'm just using silicone based grease. I don't want too much on there, to be fair. Don't need any on the teeth. So that's that, and and that should now be does that actually hold that in. So that is now properly locked, and you see it's parallel. So yeah, I will say maybe these aren't the best things to be using to lock this, but anyway, we'll persevere. I usually use Allen keys, so anyway, we'll see. And then more grease. Like I say, not an overly huge amount, but I am sort of being fairly generous. So hold down the bottom, and that should just slide on a little bit of gentle persuasion, and then some more grease. You see this one's reinforced, it's actually got some metal in the middle of it, so it's obviously fairly high torque there, or forces pushing against it are high enough to warrant doing that, so fair enough. So I seem to remember this is a little bit interesting. You sort of have to get it past the second gear. So let's put the worm gear on, just put some grease on that. Okay, and then so that's fine. Then this one, let's see if this is the way to do it. Let's take that one off, because I think that's what's doing it. Yeah, that's it. And then that one goes on last, like so. And then, oh, the rod's trying to run away again. And what I'll do is take that out, because that's aligned now. I'm just going to put a bit of grease on there, and then just feed that back through. Because the other side's still locked, or hopefully anyway. Yeah. That's all looking true. So, now I wonder if I have to put that on last. Yeah, that's locked. That's locked on. And then this one on last. Must be. There we go. So I should now be able to stick a screwdriver through there, through there, through there. Now that one, to my mind, doesn't look quite right. So let's take this off. I think that's one tooth out. That looks much better. So it is, this one is the last one to go on. So 1, 2, 3. Let's drop this down, and we'll put some grease on this, just in the cups. Pop this back on. Remember the first time I did one of these, I forgot about the switches, and push hard enough they'll go. It's not great. Okay, so that's that, and this is where you hope that the other one hasn't fallen out and you're not out of time, but we shall see. Yeah, so that's perfect. Lovely. So I should be able to run this now. Okay, so wind it in, get a bit of torque on it, and activate those two black. And that's looking completely parallel. So that's looking good. You can just see the edge of it there. That's it. That's down. Excellent. Bit of muck on the top of there because I wasn't able to get to that. Okay, so I will clean the front flaps. But we'll do that once it's back in situ and everything else is done, to be honest, because they're only going to get marked again, and greasy fingers and whatever else. So yeah, that's fine. So I will do that, and we'll take it from there. Bit muck in there. So put the belt back in, and the little retainer. Which doesn't seem to want to quite sit. I think that's right. Yeah, there we go. Lovely. Yeah, really pleased with that. It's actually a really nice front loading system now. So yeah, I will put this back in, and we'll get on to the next job. So I thought, before I put the front loading system back on, I'd take this off, front controls, and actually replace these switches now. It's just a little bit easier for access, and you're not worrying so much about the overhang of the front loading system. Ultimately, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference, but why not? So you do have to cut that, unfortunately, because it slides back. So just be able to slide this off now, but the tape, the sort of decorative tape, tends to hang on to it. There we go. Super. So, like I say, worth changing these just because they will fail. If they haven't failed already, they will fail. So yeah, it's going to use 6x6 with 2mm or 1.6, something like that. 6x6. So commonly available. They won't be as good quality as the originals, but they will do the job pretty well. These are actually a little bit bigger, but these will fit fine. So yeah, I'll get and do that. I won't bother showing it, and we'll take it from there. Let's crack on. So I swapped the buttons, and looking really good, and solder's not bad as well, and just cleaned it up, cleaned the flux up. So yeah, these I put a depth measurement, well, made a depth measurement on these, and 1.6mm. I'm not sure where I got those from, because that's sort of a bit of an odd value. But anyway, that's what I used, and they're perfect. I just tried it with the front cover back on, and the depth is just right. So yeah, next thing, I'll just give it a quick clean under here. Get some of this white paint off as well, because it's just flaking off. Yeah, we'll put that cable tie back on and move on to the next bit. Let's crack on. So let's put this finally back together. So in the bottom, and just enough slack to get that in. Make sure it all locates nicely. Stick that down. Okay, and then the cable tie. You have to be a bit careful, because this assembly, this is where the door flips down, and the actual hinge assembly for that door goes very close to here. So if you get this sort of round like that, for example, it'll foul it. So
I actually put it, well, sort of up the top, because you have to be a bit careful. I seem to remember you've got to be a bit careful because you can foul the front loading system as well. So let's put that connector out the way. So yeah, so let's chop that off. And next thing then is to put the front loading system back in. So just watching the belt. Yeah. So that needs to come down just a little bit, just so it's not fouling. Of course I left this in the loaded position, which might be a bit of an issue. Ooh, there was another thing I needed to do actually, and I forgot. And that's to actually put some grease on the rails. So I need to do that. So I'll do that next, and then we'll put it in. So yeah. Okay, so all greased up, and put this in. I seem to remember it can be a bit of a jiggle to get. Oh no, there we go. It can be a bit of a jiggle to get it in. I was going to say, but that was actually not too bad. And so then we have it. We're nearly ready to give this a test. Let's put the front loading connector back in, but that needs to be tucked in. There's a little clip there that the wire needs to run into or through. Tempted to leave this belt off for a minute. I think we'll lift this and just check the gear is okay. So let's do that now. A little tiny gear on the bottom. Getting ahead of myself there, taking that one off first, because we need to get this off first. Seems a bit excessive to do it in some ways if it's not already broken, but as far as reliability goes, it's worth the few extra minutes. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, there's a screw loose there. I wonder what that's all about. Well, it's obviously when the power supply was last worked on, but yeah, it sort of points or sort of reinforces my theory that the regulator's been changed, not only because of that that silicon heatsink compound on the I could do with getting that screw out, because otherwise it's going to fall out. Bad things happen. I do believe that's looking pretty good actually. Okay, well that's good. I can put that back together, and I can rest tonight knowing that gear is not going to imminently split, because you get no real warning. It will just start slipping and then won't lace a cassette. So yeah, it's that black gear there. So back together, but this is really quite tight, and what can happen is the center gear inside the planet gear assembly can be put under such strain that it will crack. So I'm going to take this off, and I have varying degrees of success with this. It can make them quite noisy when you grease them. I haven't really worked out why that's the case. These top caps can be a bit fragile as well. They've got 3 lugs, and you see there I just sort of just brought that yeah, so that's quite stiff. The grease has gone, well, there doesn't seem to be really any grease in there, to be fair. So yeah, I'll just get a little bit of silicone grease and literally just put a tiny bit. I can do it so I can just making sure I'm masking. Ooh, that was way too much. Even that's a bit too much, but anyway, that's fine. But it needs to be done because that gear will split in the middle and then things will not be happy. Still feels quite tight. Just wonder if the motor itself's a bit, oh, I don't know. No, that's better. Yeah, that's feeling a heck of a lot better. Run that in. And then if you put too much grease in as well, it'll make it go quite, well, just sound really sort of weird, noisy. So yeah, possibly we'll see how we go, but some thicker grease might be the way forward, but we'll see how we go. Like I say, sometimes it's just absolutely fine, other times it just seems to be really noisy after doing it. So screwdriver, there seems to be quite a bit of slack there, more than there was. I don't think I've done anything wrong. So everything is flush. Sometimes the motor assembly doesn't sit flush, so you give it a wiggle so it drops down properly. But yeah, that seems fine. Don't over tighten the screw because that plastic will break. So that's fine. Okay, so the next thing is let's clean up the Hall effect, and then I think oh yes, and we'll have a look at that motor as well, the real motor, because that is definitely not healthy. So yeah, we'll get that sorted and let's crack on. So let's drop the panel. What's happened there? The board is on the wrong side of the, what on earth? Wrong side of the screw mounts. Basically slapping off the side panel. How bizarre. That takes quite a bit of effort to do that. I.e. take off the side panel. That top screw being loose is giving more than a clue as to what's gone on with this machine. Oh gosh. There we go. Off plastic. Okay, so let's get this back together. Okay, so 2 things to do. You can see the Hall effect is very glued up, so that's a failing Hall effect just waiting to happen. Then we've got the real motor, so plastic here. I reckon if I press that, it's going to click. No. Let's just drop it. Let's drop it. So that's made it actually free, which is great. Another check of those spools. Okay, well, I'll clean this while I'm in here anyway. Yeah, that's sort of solved it temporarily. What I need to do now is put some araldite in there, yeah, let's let that set overnight, and we should be good with that motor. So I'll clean all this up and mix up some araldite, and we'll take it from there. Well, that's the whole effect pretty well cleaned up. There's a couple of sort of stains of glue there, but it's in free air. And I have also put some glue in the bottom of the real motor there. So that'll take, well, realistically 48 hours, but after a few hours that'll be hard enough. I've actually used the E8000 on that, just because you can poke it out if you need to, but it should be strong enough, well, easily strong enough to just keep it from coming adrift. So yeah, I'm going to leave this now. Okay, so it's the next day, and glue's dried really quite well. It has a very, very sort of tacky nature to it. It never fully hardens, which is no bad thing, but it will hopefully keep that plastic in place. We'll see as time goes on. And yeah, all effect nice and clean. So I think I'll get this board put back in, back up. We'll plug it in. I need to check the plug. Everybody loves a plug check. Let's crack on. Okay, so let's check the plug. My guess is it's going to be like the earth screws falling out. 13 amp fuse, yes, the earth screw. So obviously we don't have, it's a double insulated device, so we don't have an earth cable. Could almost just leave it out, but I'll put it back in. But yeah, we have a 13 amp fuse, so that'll have to go. So that's better. I've also pulled the cable, well, loosened off the cable grip and just push that in a bit further so it's good and secure. Not a bad job, to be honest otherwise. The brown lead is a bit long, but yeah, I'm happy with that. So both screws are a bit loose as well, so tighten those up. Make sure that earth one is really tight. Super. Let's give it a try. Okay, so let's power it on and see what happens. Super. So far so good. So I'm gonna put in my flapless cassette. I think, oh, didn't like that. I wonder what that was all about. Yeah, so it looks like I've got a problem with the front loading system. Again. So I'm just going to wind it on a little bit. Let's just see what happens. Okay, well that side is fine. I think I've got it a little bit, well, it feels like it's a bit out of time. I don't think it is, but I think the switch might need a little bit of adjustment. It's because it's not clicking when I push the cassette in. But anyway, we'll see. Let's try playback. So That is actually rather good. In fact, it's lovely. Let's just move over. Won't do a capture yet. We'll do a capture. So that's center tracking, tracking left, tracking right. Don't seem to have any audio. Yeah, so there we go. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. So yeah, that's really good. So let's just left. And here it's losing, like these do. Center track. So yeah, brilliant. That's really cool. So let's have a look at this front loading system. Okay, so let's try and eject it. Okay, that seems all right. Let's try. Yeah. So I've got a problem. Yeah, it's not releasing the switch properly on that, on the front loading system. So I'll have to just take that off and just see exactly what I've done wrong there. Yeah, I've obviously missed to get that quite lined up correctly. So yeah, let's crack on. Yeah, so you can see here, switch here. If I push a cassette in, you can see it actuating, but it doesn't actually quite release. So what I need to do is just slacken off that screw a little bit, and that'll then sort that out. But yeah, it's just ever so slightly out of alignment. Yeah, you can actually see I've lined all these up properly now. This one was a little bit sort of advanced then. By about 2 teeth actually. I was quite surprised I got that far out, and I did it properly. The other side was out as well as a result of doing this side. So instead of fiddling about with the bar, the gear on the end there, and just getting it right, I actually took the screw off, which I'll show you in a minute. I don't want to turn it over, and just took it off and put it in the right place using an Allen key. I'm not using cotton ball buds either. It's a really bad idea. The Allen keys do work a lot better. So if you've seen previous videos, I've done this a few times, but it's been a while since I've done it, to be honest. And I sort of tried to be clever as well, which is never a good thing. So to my mind, that's still a little bit out because I can't get the Allen key in, so I'll have to adjust that. Yeah, there we go. Just knocked it a tooth back, and that's now good. Check this one again. That's good. And that one again. It's good. And I've got the Allen key in there. That looks parallel, because you can tell by eye if you've got it wrong. So the carriage needs to be parallel to the front bar. So that's good. So the next thing is the switches, and I printed out the relevant page from the manual, because I've only done it once before. I've never really had to mess about with them too much. Maybe once or twice, but not for a long time. So just want to make sure I get it right rather than guess it and then have to take it all out again. So yeah, I'll position the switches, and we'll take it from there. Let's crack on. So that's all set up. It is really cool how they do this. So for this micro switch, basically you loosen the screw, and then basically this arm here needs to be pointing straight up. So with that pointing straight up, you adjust it so it's just turned on. So it's just depressed, and you'll hear the click when that's the case. Then you tighten up the screw. Then, and you know, if you want to be pedantic, that's where the gap between 8 and 10 mil with the upright. Now that on the diagram it shows it as a line straight up, but of course the what do they call it, worm gear holder isn't. It's to an angle, so I've done it just with this straight up, and it is about 8 to 10 relative to that if it carried on straight up. So with that in mind, I've then wound it on, and this is pretty much to the end of the travel anyway, but it said with a gap between 16 and 18 millimeters to the straight. So I did it 17, which was pretty much nearly all the way out to adjust this one. So you undo the screw there, and again it's just turned off is what you're looking for. So it's just open. So depressed or pressed right the way in is on, and out is off. And there's actually a handy dandy little geared bit in there that if you do have decent fingernails, you can actually use those just to get it in the right place, hold it, and then tighten up the screw. And what it should sound like is, oh, belt got caught. Click click when you push a cassette in. Click click, and it should almost be very little between the two clicks. So that should be perfect. So I'll fit that back in the machine. I won't show me doing that because you've seen that before, and we'll give it a test. Let's crack on. Okay, so here it goes. Did I tighten that up? No, I didn't tighten up the belt tensioner. Right. Oh, does help if we plug it in. Sounds good though. Tuck it into the tab. Perfect. And eject. Doesn't sound too bad either. So I haven't actually tried fast forward and rewind because of course we had the real motor issue, but that is actually fine. Clock set. There we go. Let's put it on the counter. So that's actually really good. Tiny bit of a knock. But that's not bad. That's acceptable in my book. So yeah, that's fantastic. Right, so I'm running out of time. So I need to stop saying so and getting the power supply sorted. Let's crack on. Okay, not the best angle, but I have pulled the power. Just checking. Don't trust myself. So I'll unplug everything. Each plug is unique. So that makes life a lot easier. Splay open this. So splay open the two plastic tabs. There we go. just so they're out of the way. Right, unplug the two connectors, and we should then be able to clip. Oh, I've got another cable tie handy. Anyway, we'll sort that out. I know I've got some in the house, but I don't know if I've got any actually up here. But anyway, we'll do everything, and you might just have to believe me that I do that. So let's move these out the way. What I tend to do is I tend to clean the tubing as well. It just makes it look nice, and yeah, I'm sort of a bit pedantic about these things, as you know. So screwdriver. So undo the clamp on the heatsink. I'll put a photo up of what that looks like. And then there's two screws either side of this assembly here. Your power supply assembly. Oh gosh, they're really loose. Someone's been in here before, that's for sure. Like I say, I'm positive the SDR, I think it's an SDR, not an SDK, has been replaced before. Every time I do one of these, I call it the wrong chip type. SDR. Oh, I got it right. Ah, excellent. So there we go. It's not too bad for silicone heatsink compound. Caps wise, yeah, original caps. So the caps we're actually changing are these two, and I'll turn this around. Easier said than done. These two here, that's all you really need to worry about. The rest are pretty good. You can do these, but well, one of them is on a supply that doesn't make much difference anyway. But I've been known to change the 470, but I've never known them be bad, to be honest. It's always these little ones, and the symptoms when they do go is you'll get like herringbone distortion on the picture when the machine's cold. So yeah, as it warms up, they'll disappear and they'll go all squiggly and it will become a bit psychedelic, and then they just disappear and it's fine after about, well, several minutes. It depends how bad the caps are. So need to undo the screws without damaging anything. That screw's not playing ball. Got a bad head on it. Not really. That one's loose. So, and then pull it out, flip it over. Job's a good one. So I'll change these. I'll change these caps now, and yeah, we should be good to go. I tend to change the fuses when I'm doing it, especially if I'm selling it. I tend to change the fuses as well, just to make sure that that there aren't any problems from soft blowing, which is where, because you know you get an inrush every time you power the machine on from the mains. They actually slightly flex every time, and in the end they'll just rupture. So it won't blow as such, so they'll just rupture because of the nature of the material that a fuse wire is made from. So yeah, I'll more than likely change those as well. Does it look? It actually doesn't look as if that SDR has been changed. So I wonder what that's all about. I wonder why it was taken out. But anyway, what I'll also do is I'll clean all in there as well, because it's really grubby. And Jolio was saying that it smelt when it got hot, and so I'll clean that up, because that could well be all it is. But yeah, anyway, let's crack on. Okay, so they're changed. So the two here, there's actually 3 on the board. So 1 here, 2 here. They're all 22 microfarad, they're all 16 volts. The ones that were in there are actually 63 volts, which is a bit excessive. Then on the other side there, 47 microfarad, again 16 volts. I do tend to like to fit 25 volts, but well, 16 volts is what I have, and I'm fine with that. They're high quality caps, so they're not Chinese ones. So yeah, I'm going to put some fresh heatsink compound on there and then put it back together. Let's crack on. Okay, so I think we're about good to go, but what I'm going to do is put the front cover back on. I've cleaned it. There are bits of dust in there, but there's only so much you can do. Or actually, let's just clean these. So pull out the tab. Because obviously once the front cover's on, you can't do it. You need to slide them across and give them a clean. And to put them back on, pop it in, slide it across, and just push in on the side there. I'll do the same with this one. This is a bit of a fiddle actually, getting this one out, because everything's in the way. So you sort of have to manipulate it a bit more. So give that a clean. Good. And then pop the clip back in. Putting that away. Oh. I guarantee when you're in a rush, these things always go wrong. There we go. Lovely. Right, let's get the front panel back on. There's actually a bit of a mark on the top tab, which I didn't notice when I was cleaning it. I did notice when I took it apart. Okay, so I think we are good to go. I need to give that another clean because, well, just that edge. You see there, it's not wonderful. Not to be fair, that's just dust. Okay, so very rather noisy colour bars, sound-wise. But yeah, that's actually working really well. So let's try a proper cassette and take it from there. Oh, by the way, my capture box crashed. Just totally locked up. So yeah, interesting. So there we have it. That's actually really, really good, and I'm really pleased with that. So obviously I haven't put all the covers on, but that's fair enough. So tracking left, and then tracking right. I'm going to start losing lock. But yeah, that's brilliant. I'm really, really pleased with how this has come out. So obviously I've not finished with this machine. Need to demagnetize the audio controller raise head, clean the whole tape path, of course, give it a good old run. Let's see what that smell is. I've got to change those fuses as well. I'll do that just for reliability. And then it can go back to Shadio, and you know, it's a really nice machine. So let's do a still. So it's what you sort of expect from a two-head machine. Let's obviously give this another little clean. It's just the gap in between the plastic and the lid there, the entry into the tape compartment. So that's fair enough, but yeah, that's really good. So I hope you enjoyed this one. Had to rush it a little bit towards the end because I'm running out of time, as always, because there's always so much to do. But I hope you enjoyed this one, and hopefully see you in another video. Bye for now.